by implication, voters who did not like the Obamacare plan did not vote for it, or probably not the stupid ones. And so my district, which voted against the president, almost 80%, is full of what you would consider non-stupid people. I'm done with you.
I'm done with you. That was our next guest, Doug Collins, a member of the House Oversight Committee and House Government Reform Committee, Republican from the great state of Georgia. Hey, sir, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good job today. What was it like having Mr. Gruber before your committee?
Well, it was the face of what we have fought against many times in this administration, from those that it really is that sort of self-righteous smugness that comes from intellectual elites who have separated themselves, who believe that government is the answer to everything, and that anybody who disagrees with them is simply peons in the way of their utopian world. And it was just amazing to see him sit there and consistently not answer questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you think ultimately came out of today's hearings?
I think that what ultimately with his part, I think it just showed him for the basically the arrogant elitist that he is, and basically the deception that went on, that we all knew was going on, in dealing with a very flawed health care law that they were desperate to pass when they passed it. And I think that's the bottom line. The interesting thing is, though, is how he wouldn't answer simple questions. I mean, here's a guy who can do economic micro plans for a complicated health care law, but couldn't remember how much he was paid. And I finally asked him, I said, well, did you file a tax return? I mean, if you won't tell us how much you're paid, which is part of the requirements before testifying before a committee.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And when it came to the Democrats blasting him, like Elijah Cummings calling him stupid, what would you think of that? Was it a performance on their part, or were they being sincere?
No, I don't think it really was, because I talked to them, and I think they would just as soon not have had this hearing. In fact, most of them, after they asked questions, they left and left the room. And I think what they did is it highlighted something that they don't want to highlight. They only want to talk about the gentleman who was there who got his silver plan with no subsidies. They don't want to talk about the ones who've lost their health care plans. They don't want to talk about the issues with employers who are dropping health care land and putting people on government exchanges. They don't want to talk about the things that are wrong with this plan. And so for Gruber and then Ms. Tavener as well, who is about as transparent as a glass of mud, to have them out there actually is becoming the face of Obamacare again, it just takes them off their message. And I think with the ranking member, he has always been very consistent. When the administration does crazy stuff, he calls them out on it. And with these two witnesses, he was not happy.
One of your colleagues who we spoke with earlier, Mark Hemingway, said that Gruber wasn't stupid. He just basically was committed the sin of candor.
Yeah, I think that was the interesting thing. He actually just spoke his mind, and for sort of that veil was pulled away for a moment. We saw the wizard, and the wizard saying, "Yep, we did it, and we got caught." And I think that's the issue. And I even watched him on a tape last night as I was preparing for this morning. And again, his performance was just terrible. But I watched a speech that he gave back in 2012 at Seattle, a town hall meeting with doctors, and I mean, he was just arrogantly talking about rationing, talking about health boards, and basically penalizing general practice doctors for having the audacity for them to send someone to a more expensive specialty doctor, and saying we can control their behavior by incentivizing them not to send them to these specialty doctors and to send them to lower-cost doctors. This was actually in a town hall he did in Seattle almost 3 years ago now. It was just appalling.
Yeah, no. Briefly, Congressman, where do we go with Obamacare? Because soon, within a year or so, I forget when it was pushed back, but the employer mandate, when 85 million people find themselves having to log on to that website and pay, $6,000 out-of-pocket deductibles, then the country's going to really wake up to it.
Well, and I think that's what we're seeing right now. Even those who like the concept of health care and like the concept of the government being more involved are beginning. Even I'm hearing more and more from folks who are just frustrated with the system. They're frustrated with the payments. They're frustrated with the administration's ineptness in rolling this out and the lack of transparency. And they're finally seeing it for what it is, and that was the administration basically taking on the big insurance companies and helping them, something that their base has always been opposed to.
Right.
And actually, they found out that their leader was basically in bed with the insurance agencies trying to figure out how we can do this.
Right. All right, Congressman, great to talk to you, sir. Good job today. Thank you.
Thanks. Talk to you later.
Take care. Doug Collins, ladies and gentlemen. Reminds me of the Philadelphia 76ers, Doug Collins, but it's not him. Anyway, we'll be back with Newsmax Deputy Financial Editor Rob Williams. Did the markets recover from yesterday, or is there more of the same? We'll tell you.